Hello. What's up? I know I'm late today. Late always, though, right? But also, I almost wasn't going to do it today because I didn't think I would have time. So this is what we got. And I did end up getting a few extra things done so I can stay a little bit later than usual today, too. Hopefully that will make up for it. What is going on? What is the hot topic today? It's so funny. I always think of something I want to talk to you guys about on the way in. And then when I get here, I completely forget what it is. What did I look at this morning? What was going on this morning that was so interesting? They're doing a fourth installment of Meet the Fockers. I don't know what they're going to call it, but I feel like, you had two good movies and one bad movie. What are the odds that that fourth one's going to be any good? It's just going to be like dad jokes. But then I guess, dad jokes are all the rage. At least people keep telling them and seeming to enjoy them. Some dad jokes are good. Some dad jokes, not so much. I don't know. I mean, it has to be a good dad joke, right? It can't just be a pun. Hi, Chew. Hey, Davey. What's going on? Comedy is a tough one, right? Because it's so individualized. And I guess, before I forget, if anyone is in the Bay Area, Cobb's Comedy Club and the Punchline in San Francisco are having toy drives this week. Today and tomorrow is the last day, I believe, for the toy drives. And 107.7 The Bone is having a toy drive this Saturday in Pacifica at Longboard. So if you're feeling the holiday spirit and you've got toys or canned goods, join us at Longboard in Pacifica this Saturday. Yeah. What else is going on? I am still very chagrined at the number of people that think I just came back to be on 107.7 The Bone. I mean, dude, it's been 2 years. Have we not noticed? Becoming Led Zeppelin. If you didn't know, those IMAX tickets are on sale now. And I was just looking at some seats, and it looks like hardcore Zeppelin fans have already bought up like all the middle section seats in the middle, in the top section of the IMAX theater, at least in San Francisco. Hi, James. What's happening? How have you been? So if seeing Becoming Led Zeppelin in IMAX is something you want to do, might want to get those tickets in advance. They're kind of expensive too. They come to like, I think it came to like $55, almost 50. It was like 54 and change for 2 tickets. So they're like $25 each. Makes a good Christmas present because it's not coming out. Hi, Jacob. It's not coming out until February 7th. What else is going on? I was doing all this stuff this morning, it seemed like. I feel like the younger generation absolutely knows who Led Zeppelin is, and anybody telling me they don't is confused. Hey, Philip. What's going on, man? I keep trying to figure out what I posted this morning to see what I was going to talk to you guys about, and now I can't remember. And it keeps bouncing me over to my own live stream, and I'm all, Metallica anniversary shows. So today Ozzy posted his performance, the pictures from his performance from the hey PJ, what's up, yo? Hey Jim. You still working, Philip? It's all 6:15. If anybody's still got to drive home, I'm telling you, I'm looking at the traffic map right now and it is not pretty. It's bad, like late today. It's bad. It's one of those days they apparently are requiring everybody to come into the office on, right? Let's see, where is Ozzy? What the F? Where is it? Ozzy? Ozzy. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So in 2011, right, I've been posting the Metallica 30th anniversary shows. I'm a day off because I didn't post yesterday on account of we were posting the Black Room podcast with Steve Gorman yesterday. So I'm a day behind. So technically today in 2011, Ozzy was a guest, right? And you can see Ozzy posted it that he was the guest there, right? So crazy, but I did Ozzy's makeup for that night. It was kind of crazy. And it was hilarious because I'm not a makeup artist. But it was weird. It was funny because I was going all 4 nights, and at the last minute, Ozzy's people said Ozzy wants a makeup artist, and they were like, "Where in the hell are we going to get a makeup artist today?" And my boss at the Fillmore called me because he remembered years before when Susie Sue needed to borrow some makeup at the Warfield. He remembered that I always had my makeup on me because, and I'll just put this right out there, I do it in the car. So I always have like a little makeup kit in the car. And he was like, "Hey, can you do makeup on someone tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, I can't tell you who it is." And I was like, "Well, then how am I going to know what colors to bring?" And he was like, "Well, you just have like a selection of colors, right?" And I was like, "Well, I can't match every face." And he goes, "Well, this person is English and somewhat older and probably close to your skin tone." And I was like, "Okay, I mean, I'll do the best I can." And he's like, "And they're going to pay you." And I was like, "Even better." He's like, "But you got to get here early." And I was like, "Not a problem." And he goes, "And of course, you are sworn to secrecy." And I was like, "Okay." And I turn up and they're like, "It's Ozzy. You're doing Ozzy's makeup." And I'm like, "Ozzy is here?" So I was like, "Holy shit. Really? Me? You want me to do Ozzy Osbourne's makeup? This is madness." Although I guess that would be on brand. So they had trailers. They had these little trailers set out front for dressing rooms because there's not enough dressing room space at the Fillmore for all of the people that were performing. And so I go out to Ozzy's trailer and I'm like, "Hey, I'm here to do your makeup." And he was like, "All right, cool." So I was like, "How would you like it?" And he's like, "Well, I just want like regular face and then just like really dark like eyes. I want like eyeliner all the way around inside and out." And I was like, "Okay." So I just started working on him and did his makeup almost like I would do mine, but in like a more masculine way, like, right, like not crazy high cheekbones and a little more blended. And then I had to do eyeliner. And I was like, "Okay, you're sure this is what you want? The eyeliner on the inside and the outside?" And he was like, "Yep." And I was like, "All right, here we go." And all I could think of was like, I had to keep him still and I had to pull his eyelid back like this. And I had to like, I had to light the end of the lighter. I had to use a lighter to melt the eyeliner pencil so that it was soft enough so that it would come off on the inside of the lid. Girls know what I'm talking about. Anybody from the 80s knows what I'm talking about. But I was scared to death because all it would take is like one slip, one wrong move. And here I am blinding the Prince of Darkness. And, but fortunately I didn't. And I think Ozzy looked great. And yeah, and it was super random, but yeah, I did Ozzy's makeup that night. And he just posted these pictures today of it. And I'm like, should I put it on my resume? Occasional makeup artist. I don't see his. Here's the closest close up we can get of his face. And his face is translucent, by the way. It was like I didn't have any bronzer, so I was like basically kind of working with a blush to try and like just give him a little bit of healthy color, but also to make him look like the Prince of Darkness. It was a weird aesthetic that we were going for. Where did we leave off? Philip, how are you working now if you go in at 11? Or are you just like, is this breakfast for you? Are you chilling at Brecky? Hi, Justine. Oh, thank you. Oh, this is I've had this forever. I dug it out of the closet today. Oh, you didn't get to see Sabbath? Well, you know, a lot of people didn't get to see Sabbath. I have a feeling, and this is to borrow a phrase from Steve Gorman, this is 10% inside information, 90% speculation. They're trying to plan a Black Sabbath reunion, big air quotes on that, in Birmingham, I think next year, either next year or 26, but I think it's next year. And no, it's next year. Yeah. But everything is so up in the air because everyone's health is like, mostly Ozzy's health, obviously. We all saw him at the Jerry Anderson. What is up, dude? Hi. I mean, we all saw Ozzy at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? He was looking very frail and like he was having trouble concentrating and stuff like that. But then Ozzy, I think it was Ozzy in an interview today. I barely read it. I skimmed it. I didn't get a chance to read it. And he said that he does want to do like one last Black Sabbath thing. And I think what they're hoping to do is get Ozzy, Bill Ward, Geezer Butler, Tony. They're hoping to get the original lineup together to do like 3 songs in Birmingham during like the Invictus. Is it not the Invictus games? What were the games that they performed at last time in Birmingham? At any point, there's supposed to be some occasion in Birmingham next year, and they're trying to see if they can work a Black Sabbath performance of like a song or 2, maybe 3 max. And that would be like the Black Sabbath reunion. But whether or not it really happens or whether or not it's really even in the works is still very, like I said, 10% inside information, 90% speculation. Somebody may have had a conversation about it, but whether or not it was ever serious, I don't know. But that means, Justine, you might have a chance. Ish. Is it Kayvon or is it Kevin? Is that a fancy way to spell Kevin or is it Kayvon? Kayvon? I don't want to say it wrong. But you know, I wish they would release the footage. I would love to see it, but I have a sneaking suspicion that there are a lot of clearance issues. They have released the audio. You can download the audio now, I think at what's the website? It's like MetLive or MetallicaLive.com or something like that. You can get the audio from the show, but I think the video clearances are something that, and I don't remember who was filming, if anyone was actually filming. Do you remember if it was a professional shoot? I don't think it was. I don't remember seeing any trucks out front that were film trucks. And I know that with the Fillmore being a union house, if you're going to release anything filmed there, you have to use the union for camera and audio. I mean, the Fillmore was already using union for everything, but it's like a whole thing. If you don't use union camera operators and a union staff for to make the video, then you have to pay a union penalty. And then also you have to get the rights to use everyone's likeness who was in the video. And there's a lot of guest stars that may or may not want their likeness used in a Metallica video. And then on top of that, you would have to pay film rights to the Fillmore for using the venue and its likeness as well. So I think that the legal clearances and likeness rights are probably going to hold that up forever and ever and ever and ever. It's probably going to be like the Metallica wedding video. Somebody's got a copy of it, but it's never going to get out because I don't think they can legally release it and consider making enough money on it to pay everybody for it. Does that make sense? I don't think it would be a profitable venture at this point. Kind of the same reason there's what is it? There's this whole angry thing about the last, is it Bob Daisley's last? There's some there, or maybe it's Randy Rhoads' last recording, and like Bob Daisley owns it or something like that, and he was trying to release it, and he was complaining that the Osbournes wouldn't release it, and trying to make the Osbournes out to be a bad guy because they wouldn't release it, and the Osbournes were like, listen, the only reason that we would be releasing this is to include it on something that was Ozzy's, and if that's the case, then we want to own it. So they offered to buy the footage, but he was like, no, you have to buy the footage and give me a piece of it. And they're like, well, we're not going to give you a piece of an Ozzy record that we're adding this like Randy Rhoads footage to, or an Ozzy box set that we're adding that to. And he was like, well, then I'm not giving it to you. And they were like, fine, keep it. And then there was this whole brouhaha about how mean that was. And it's like, it's a business. Literally the Prince of Darkness. Yes, Justine, you are funny. Hey, James, what's happening? Oh, Justine, I'm not great at doing makeup. I mean, it was pretty random that any of that happened. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Rodney. Oh, you're gonna go to WASP on Friday? Let me know if the Trump rally shows up. I gotta be honest, that completely turned me off. Like, I'm already just like nonplussed by anyone who supports Trump at this point. If you still support Trump, I'm like, dude, seriously. But for Blackie Lawless, like in the middle of New York City, to like drop the banners like it was a Nazi rally and then start like proselytizing for Trump after the election was like, nah, bro, I'm done. I remember seeing WASP at the boardwalk in Sacramento when they were in bad shape, you know, and now he's like playing the war field, and I'm like, no, dude. I saw him at the Regency. That whole thing was on tape. Their sound guy was not the sound guy, but the production manager, I think it was standing next to me, and he was basically in my ear giving me all of Blackie's stage patter before Blackie said it, because the whole show was on tape. And I looked at him and I was like, man, it's all on tape. And he was like, and I was like, dude, that hurts. But I had fun and I saw it and I'm good. And I don't ever need to see it again because Trump. Oh no, Justine, your ears still blocked? You had a checkup on Friday. Okay. Whew. Well, I'm glad the swelling went down. Yeah, Justine, definitely keep following up on that, because I was just talking to a friend of mine today who I ran into on my way into work because he just got hearing aids. And I was like, dude, this is where all of Gen X is going to be in the next couple of years, because a lot of people did not wear earplugs in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And I was like, if I hadn't gotten into the music industry when I did, I mean, I started wearing earplugs like in the 90s religiously. And by the time the millennium passed, turned over, I was putting earplugs everywhere I could find them just to make sure I always had earplugs in at every concert. And I recently got tested, and my hearing is actually like in the top percent for people my age, because earplugs, period. Kayvon, I said it right the first time. Yeah. There were signs that they were filming. That is true. I'm sure it was a professional shoot, because Metallica, it was their anniversary. They owned everything, because it wasn't like the Fillmore put on a show for Metallica. It was like Metallica rented the Fillmore for their anniversary party. So much like you would go to a wedding and there would be a wedding videographer there. There may have been people filming the Metallica anniversary for Metallica. And then I think that they had, they had filming warnings all around because people were being filmed, and they may or may not have used some footage from the event for other things. And if that was the case, then they needed to have everybody's informed consent upon entering the building. But that doesn't mean, just because they've used some of the footage from the anniversary shows for some things doesn't mean that they're releasing the anniversary shows in part or in their entirety, right? They could have just used them in social media or in a recap video or as like a Met Club special thing, and I got to be honest, they may have released parts of it or some of it, and I just don't remember, because 2011 was, my God, 13 years ago. Hey, Chuck. Exodus and Havoc. Well, I got to be honest, I was a little bit late. I went to a bar ahead of time in San Francisco, and then by the time I got to the UC Theater, Exodus had just gone on. So I saw all of Exodus, who are always amazing. Cannot believe they played Cage in Hell. I thought they hated that song, but it was in the set list, and I was like, what? Somebody kicked me in the face. And then after they kicked me in the face, they won Carrie King tickets from me yesterday. So that was kind of miraculously strange. That's the universe working in a weird way, right? Oh, last time you saw Wasp? Yeah, was it the Avalon in Santa Clara? That sounds about right. Oh, that means you missed him on this last pass through. I don't think people need to keep politics out of metal per se, because there's a lot of good political music out there, and we got to remember that metal is global. But if I'm at your show and you're turning your show into a political rally for the guy who already won, and I don't know about it until I get there, I'm just not down with that, because here's the thing, right? If you're a fan of Kid Rock, he's going to spout off some Trump shit. Ted Nugent, right? These guys, you buy the ticket, you know what you're in for. But with Wasp, he basically just came out of the closet on stage. So everybody that was in New York that bought a ticket to go see Wasp thought they were getting, I'm Blind in Texas. And instead they just got what they got. It is what it is. Buyer beware, caveat emptor. When it comes to buying a concert ticket, the artist can do whatever they want to do. If I had been at that show, I would have felt cheated, not knowing going in, because now I know, and I don't have to buy a ticket to go see him at the Warfield, because now I know what I'm in for, right? But it is what it is. And I don't think that, James, I'm sorry, what did you say? What about? I'm not seeing a... Hi, Ray. Did I say hi? I'm sorry. I'm not seeing a context for what you're talking about. Hi, Lisa. Oh, I missed stuff. James, you said Ola, and then you said what? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh my God, Philip, use the earplugs, dude. You are going to end up needing hearing aids. You have no idea how many people our age are like already wearing hearing aids. And BT dubs, they are something like, a friend of mine was saying that they're like $2,000 to $3,000. They're somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000. And that's the Costco price. They're coming down because all of Gen X is going to need them. But still, like, hearing aids are expensive, especially if your insurance doesn't cover them. And as we know, after that CEO murder, insurance doesn't cover a lot these days, huh? Oh, no, Justine, I know that's not for you. No, that was just hearing in general. Speaking of hearing issues, everyone, please, please, please get earplugs and wear them every concert you go to. Sometimes I have to put earplugs in the movie theaters. Like when I go see Becoming Led Zeppelin in IMAX, I will have earplugs on me. And it's good if you can get some reusable earplugs, not the squishy ones, but the kind that have just a dB reduction so that you can hear frequencies. The ones I get are loops because they're cheap, but they're just dB reduction. Hi, Christopher. Thanks, Jacob. I'm pretty lucky I don't have a broken nose or a black eye. I did have a little bit of a scrape over this eye, but it was pretty minor. What I think happened is I turned around to see my friends. And when I turned around, I saw this guy's shoes at my eye level. And I think I started to back up as he was jumping. And a friend of mine said that he clipped my head as he went by, but I felt the full force of his jeans across my face. So maybe he didn't hit me with his foot. He didn't hit me with his foot. He hit me with his jeans. And maybe he hit me with his like shin. But the bridge of my nose is still a little bit sore. But I think because I was kind of matrixing back as he hit me, that I ended up being okay. That night I was really sore. That night, like my face hurt, my head was hurting, I was concussed, my neck was hurting, and then when I got home, I took a Flexeril and 800 milligrams of ibuprofen, and I felt a lot better. Hi, Diane. You know what, John? I did not want to reward anyone for kicking me in the face, but he won the tickets fair and square, so I couldn't take him back. And then he starts bragging to me about how he was at Exodus on Friday and that he climbed to the top of the handicap ramp and jumped from the rail. And I was like, you asshole, you kicked me in the face when you did that. And he was like, the what? And then he was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, yeah, you should be. You kicked me in the face. What were you thinking? Like, we were all in this area that was not, it was like, we were like 6 feet from where pit was happening. You know, we were nowhere near the middle of the pit where the pit was actually happening. We were nowhere near that. We were like at the edge of the floor crowd. It was like floor crowd ended, and then 6 feet over was us leaning against the wall, and the handicap ramp was on the other side of that wall. And he climbed to the top rail of the handicap ramp and jumped and kicked me in the face on his way over to the crowd, which wasn't even part of the pit, which was like part of the greater floor area, but not the pit. You know what I'm saying? And then it looked like he fell flat on his back. Like by the time I turned around, I was like this, and I turned around and looked, and he was like flat on the floor. And I was like, did he just break his neck? But no, he got up and he was like swinging on everybody. And I was like, what the hell? So yeah, so dude's going to be at Kerry King, and it's because he won tickets fair and square on the bone. Like, wow. But in his defense, he apologized. And I told him over and over never to do that again. Dude, if you're going to stage dive, be on the stage. If you're going to crowd surf, be in the crowd. Don't be jumping from somewhere out of the crowd into the crowd and kicking people who are standing away from the pit in their faces, because not a single person where I was standing was under 50. Okay. We are old. We were all in that area because it was safe. Asshole. And that guy he was 56. He's like, well, I'm 56. And I was like, cool. Do you want to get kicked in the face? Like, just because you are an idiot doesn't mean I have to get kicked in the face. Like, what the? I'll bet he voted for Trump. Kidding. Sort of. Diane, you're so sweet. I can't remember where I got any of this stuff. I don't remember where I got these. I know I got this at Lucky Brand. This is Lucky Brand, and I love it. Had it forever. How are you, Diane? I want to go get drinks sometime because you're so close to me. Maybe once I get that work from home thing sorted, I can meet you after work at the Bull Valley Roadhouse or something. James, you're having trouble. The being the here. Were you making a dad joke? Because I was talking about dad jokes and how irritating they are earlier. Yeah, no, I see what you're talking about now. But yeah, if you're having actual hearing problems, please go get your hearing checked, and also just use earplugs. Everyone always use earplugs. Justine, how do fees work at concerts? What you pay an appearance fee for the artist, a band to show up, etc. If you can't legally divulge. Oh, I can legally divulge. Well, I don't understand exactly what you're talking about, though. The appearance fee for the artist and the band to show up. I think the concert ticket pricing is very not what you think it is. So what you'll pay is the ticket price. And then you may also pay a service charge to purchase the tickets from someone who is not the venue directly. And if that's the case, then the artist portion is only in the basic ticket price. Now, inside that basic ticket price could be a lot of things. The venue's share of the money, the artist share of the money, the promoter's share of the money, other partners and sponsors that may have a share of the money. So every concert is like a snowflake. The promoter contracts with the management / booking agent / artist for the performance, and they work out a unique deal. Sometimes it's a unique deal for every venue, but more so nowadays with these national conglomerate corporate promoters, it will be a deal for a whole tour or the majority of a tour. It's pretty complicated. If you want to ask me that question a little more in a more detailed manner, I might be able to pick out what it is you're trying to get at. Christopher, have I ever been to the Phoenix Theater in Petaluma? I think I saw Y&T there, or I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show there. I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show at the Phoenix. No, Rodney, I was not moshing. I was nowhere near the mosh, which is why being kicked in the face was so egregious. There's pit etiquette, and if people are outside the pit, you leave them the fuck alone. Hi, Ben. Do I have an extra for Death Angel with Violence? I'm going to be out of town on Saturday, so I don't even have a ticket for Death Angel and Violence on Saturday. Just say no to eat candles. Dan, I don't know what that means. John, I can never remember to bring earplugs either. So you know what I did one day? I took all the earplugs that I had purchased or borrowed from people and venues that I kept sticking on my dresser when I got home from concerts, and I put them all in a big pile, and then I paired them all out, and then I stuck one in the pocket of every hoodie I have. And then I had leftover, so I started sticking them in other jackets, and then I started sticking them in every purse. And I've got them in my glove box. So now I barely have to remember earplugs because I've stashed so many places. I've almost always got them. So just go buy one of those boxes of spongy plugs and just stick one in every hoodie pocket. That way they're always there. Because you're always wearing a hoodie to the show, right? You ever go to a show without a hoodie? Not in the Bay. Justine, one year you were seeing Rick Springfield. And you were so up close, you asked for earplugs before the show even started. Wow. Smart. You got to bring the earplugs, girl. Ben, you just got to see Zach Sabbath? Nice. Even better. See? And no one kicked you in the face. I feel like that's a good pit experience. Rodney, he was not stage diving. He was diving from I don't even know how to diagram this for you guys. All right. Say this is the stage, right? Here's the stage. Okay. So if this is the stage, then this is the pit, right? This is the floor. We'll call this the floor. The pit is over here, right? So I was over here. This is where the stage door is. And there's a wall. So it's like stage door, wall, and a hallway right here, right? And then the people on the pit are just on the edge of this, right? So the floor kind of goes the floor people are all the way out, but there's like a 6-foot walkway that's being cleared right here. And then there's a handicap ramp that goes up here and around. And then there's some box seating right here. So I was standing right here at the edge of the handicap ramp. Now that ramp goes all the way down here where there's also a staircase. And then this is the floor. So the floor is all of this. And this guy climbs on top of the railing right here of the ramp and dives over us into the crowd on the floor. Now, the people in the pit are all the way over here. He's jumping on people who are just standing at the edge of the floor. And he kicked me who was turning around to talk to a friend of mine who was leaning against the wall where he was jumping from the rail. I hope that helps. At least I don't have scars from studs. Jacob, I feel like that's too low of a bar. Larry, how you doing, sweetie? You represent that. Yeah, well, if you're stage diving and I'm in the pit, I know I'm in the pit, and I know that there might be people stage diving. So I am aware, right? I was in the pit at Iron Maiden and people were like crowd surfing, which I hate. So I was always like this, and like making sure I had an eye behind me and an eye ahead of me and whatever. I didn't need to be aware because I was nowhere near the pit. I was all the way on the outside of the floor area at the aisleway to, the upstairs. And sure enough, this asshole. Yeah, John, if I'm at Kerry King, I'm not going anywhere near this guy. And you'll see him. He looks like Santa Claus. He looks like Santa Claus' special needs brother. No, Justine, I'm not going to be able to fix the electrical problem until like Christmas. PG&E said their first available shutoff date was December 22nd. So my electrical issues are going to remain until then. I do have electricity. I had an electrician come out and make some adjustments. But I'm just not comfortable buying a new refrigerator until we get the power upgraded. And I do have a wine fridge. So right now I just have this little space in my wine fridge that has all my refrigerated stuff. Ray, Tony? Exactly. Exactly. It is wrong. Diving off the stage is one thing. Chris Contos, I see you. I wish you would stop doing it, but I understand. But if you're in the back of the house where people are just hanging out intentionally away from the fray and you attack them, fuck you, dude. Oh, ear candles. I see what you mean, Dan. Yeah, I don't think that that's her problem, Dan. Ear candles are for a blockage and she has swelling because she accidentally slipped and got a Q-tip right up in there. Ouch. Oh, Marlon, if we could resurrect Bill Graham, that would be awesome. But also he'd be like 99, I think, at this point, and he probably would have sold off the company anyway. I mean, it would have staved off the inevitable is what would have happened, right? Because Bill would have not sold, but he would have eventually sold. And who knows? Maybe Bill would be right up there with Rapino running Live Nation. He'd be on the board or something. John, you bought them in bulk and they got scattered? You can get a box. Yeah, buy like a box in bulk and they come, get those little individually wrapped ones and then just stick them in each pocket. You're supposed to scatter them, but you're supposed to scatter them in pockets so that they're always there. Put them in your wallet like a condom. Oh, you're going to support Armored Saint? Fair enough. Armored Saint needed the support at the Great American Music Hall last year, man. That show sold very few tickets. I was super bummed on that one. Oh my God, Ray, Tony? I mean, I don't know if this guy's 200 pounds because he's short, but he's not that short. He's like tall enough to kick me in the face when he jumped off the rail. I mean, honestly, I think stage diving and crowd surfing needs to be done entirely, especially at festivals. If I'm at a festival and I see people, it takes like 3 or 4 people to get these kids up in the air so that they can crash onto my bad neck. Like, nobody needs you. Nobody needs that. If you can't monkey climb your way up to the top of the crowd to get on people's to crowd surf, then I don't think you deserve to crowd surf. And I think stage diving is just bad in general. It's just a way for people to get hurt. If you're the artist, then people aren't going to drop you. But if you're not the artist, I'll drop you. I don't care who you are. Hi, Aaron. Oh yeah, stage diving is still very much a thing. I mean, it's outlawed pretty much everywhere, but some places people can still get away with it. And in this case, I don't. What this guy did was not stage diving. What this guy did was totally illegal, poor etiquette, all the things. You know, he climbed on a ramp that was outside the floor area and just dove from it. Yeah, right, Robert. I mean, and how much did Toby weigh? Like, honestly, I'm sure he was like 6'2", but he probably weighed 135 pounds. Oh, exactly, John. Those people who are like trying to do the high karate punches and crap. Yeah, I don't understand any of those people. They don't get it as far as I'm concerned. You know what? That's way too much like the bro heads, you know, those bro metal heads that turned up when Metallica got popular. That's too bro for me. And it's just not thrash. It's not cool. I miss Toby. Toby was unique. But also Toby never hurt me. And I was a kid. I was like 15, 16 years old when I met Toby in the pit. Dan, you get earwax buildup. That you're not going to put candles in your ears to get it out. Dan, you might need what's called tubes. There is a thing that they can do to put tubes in your ears to help the earwax drain. See your local audiologist or doctor. It's weird that I know this, but I do. Oh, John, it doesn't take organization. All it takes is, I mean, I hate to say Amazon it, but like if you're not going to be near a drugstore anytime soon, Amazon it. And it's super, like for me, like I said, I was constantly having to get earplugs at the venue. And then I would put the earplugs in my pocket after the show. And then I would leave them in my pocket. But most of the time I would have the earplugs and I would put them on my dresser. And then I finally realized, why do I have all these earplugs on my dresser when I should put them in all my pockets? And then they were always in my pockets when I needed them. Philip, you loved crowd surfing? Well, fuck you. I have never crowd surfed. I will never crowd surf. I think it's a dick move. Nobody asked me if I wanted to play light as a feather, stiff as a board at a metal show. I want to climb up. Fuck you. Go play light as a feather, stiff as a board with your fucking girlfriends on a Ouija board, okay? Because the rest of us don't need you falling over our heads. I don't need you messing up my hair. I don't need you landing on my bad neck. I don't need you going, look at me while I climb over people's faces. Like, fuck off, man. You're at a show, be at a show. If you're moshing, mosh. But this crowd surf bullshit, no, I'm not down with it. Not even a little bit. Like I said, it's just a way for one person to injure other people. Have you ever seen somebody go, oh my God, yay, crowd surfers, this is fun. I love this. I don't want to watch the show. I just want to make sure nobody breaks my neck. Yay. Oh, look, it's a boot. Oh, fun. Nobody fucking does that. Fuck you, crowd surfers. Every fucking one of you. Every fucking one. Time to shame crowd surfers until they fucking cut it out. Oh my God, help me get up here. Help me, help me, help me. Let me go on top of everybody. And I don't have enough middle fingers. Oh, Robert, where were you when I said, what about the flying contos? I said, I get it, Chris, but I wish you'd quit. I wish he'd quit doing it. Personally, I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it from anybody. I don't want Chris Contos landing on me. If Chris Contos is in the house, I am not in the pit. And Chris Contos was at Exodus, which is why I was not in the pit. Just in case, because you never know when even if you've got eyes on him, you never know when he's going to run up there and take another dive. So I was way outside the pit. And then this asshole decides to jump from the fucking side rail. But also stage diving is not the same as crowd surfing. Let's not confuse those two. I hate crowd surfers. I'm irritated by stage diving. I hate crowd surfers. I want to publicly shame crowd surfers for their dumb shit. Stage divers, I'm like, could you not? But at least if you're diving from the stage, I can see you coming from the stage. If you're crowd surfing and you're coming from this way while I'm watching the band, fuck you. I shouldn't have to constantly be turning around behind me to make sure some dipshit isn't trying to come over the crowd and break my neck at any point. You can tell that pisses me off. Hey, Terry, thank you. Oh my God, dude. Kayvon, if somebody is crowd surfing and taking selfies and they come near me, I am like, I will assault them and steal their phone. First, I'll drop them, and then I'll probably kick whatever hand has the phone in it. I'm not kidding. If you're, I dropped so many people at Iron Maiden because I was right down front, right in the middle of the pit, and people kept coming over. And if I saw them coming over, I would just box everyone out, and then I would catch them and fucking drop them and be like, "Oops." That's how much I hate. That's how much I hate crowd surfers. Can't stand them. Fuck them all and fucking no regrets. Well, and also Toby's dead, right? So it's not a problem. Also, Toby was coming from the stage. If you're coming from the stage, I can see you. That's the difference. If you're coming from behind me because it took 3 of your friends to push you up onto somebody's shoulder so that you could go all the way over, I have no respect for you. I don't think people were crowd surfing in the late 80s, Philip. I think people were crowd surfing in the 90s. I think it's a 90s phenomenon. Like I don't remember anyone crowd surfing until grunge. And then all of a sudden it was all the rage. And I was like, yeah, again, I don't even want to call this what this guy did stage diving because he wasn't coming from the stage, right? Here's the stage. Here's the stage, right? Bro was all the way over here at the back of the crowd coming from the rail that was off to the side. He's fucking here diving into the crowd at the back of the fucking floor. You can't even call that stage diving. Tony, you wish you'd learned your lesson with earplugs in AC/DC 1982, the cannons. Yeah. Oh, God. I saw AC/DC the first time in 1987, and they did the cannons. It wasn't multiple cannons by then. It was the one big, because it was heat sinker. And so it was a big heat seeker cannon. But still, I was like this the whole time, just like, this can't be good. And that was like, I think 86 or 87. I didn't wear earplugs in the 80s. In the 80s, it didn't even dawn on me, and I was up front all the time, just getting my ears blown out. And I had bad tinnitus. And then I started wearing earplugs in the 90s, and I forget why. But, oh, good. But yeah. A song ends when your body stops vibrating, unless your body never stops vibrating. Yeah, I had some of those. It was pretty bad. Yeah, the boots suck, dude. Philip, were you a kid? I don't believe you. What about piggybacking at shows, Dan? I don't care. If somebody wants to let you sit on their back, I could care less. I prefer you not be on someone's shoulders, though. If you're on someone's shoulders and you're in front of me, I'm not saying I'm going to pull you down. I'm just saying that you're going to get knocked into a couple of times or more. Or I'm just going to walk in front of you because fuck you. Contos landed on you at Violence and you lost a vintage record vault Exodus pin. That sucks. We can't have nice things. This is why. Marlon, there's disposable earplugs you got from Froma Construction Supply, and they work nicely. Use and toss. Don't toss them, Marlon. That's what I'm saying, because, that's wasteful. You can reuse them. I mean, disposable earplugs aren't exactly disposable. I mean, unless you have gross ears, right? I mean, my ears aren't super gross. I clean them all the time. So I can use earplugs over and over and over and they don't get crusty. They're in my pocket and they're fine. And I mean, eventually they will get a little crusty and then I have to replace them. But let me tell you, you can use the same pair of earplugs for show after show after show. You don't have to like landfill that much. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Tony. Pearl Jam is the reason we have crowd surfing, and MTV is the reason it went everywhere. Suno will destroy my ears. Nah, I'm not a fan. I'm not big on the doom and the gloom metal. But I did just realize it is 7:00 and I need to get the fuck out of here so I can have dinner and go to bed on time because I'm old. And I'm leaving town this weekend to go see Bleeding Through and God Forbid in San Diego. What? I know. I did not realize that I was flying out the same day of Death Angels, Another Christmas Show, but fortunately I will still be here for Friday's show for Death Angels. So I am bummed I'm going to miss Violence opening for Death Angel on Saturday. But by the time I realized it was too late to change the flight. Sorry. Yeah. Chris Contos is the reason why we can't have nice things. That's not true. Not true. Oh, Dan, we don't get the let out anymore. That stopped like 10 years ago or 9 years ago, I think. Thanks, John. You have a great night too. Cheers, Philip. Thanks, Marlon. Good night, Robert. I'll see you guys. I should see you guys tomorrow, I think. I may or may not have time tomorrow. I've got to do some stuff. Thanks, Kayvon. You guys have a good one. And I'm glad I was able to drop in for a bit. Also, remember to wear earplugs and don't crowd surf. Only assholes crowd surf. No, Dan, you're not wrong. We did used to do Get the Let Out for years and years and years. We did for like 15 years. And then I'm pretty sure it stopped after I quit, but I'm not 100% sure. Thanks, Justine. Thanks, Aaron. Good night. Good night, Jacob. Good night, James. Good night, Mary Ellen. Good night, John Boy. I'm the only one old enough to remember what that means, huh? See you guys.